What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Russler. Joining me this week is my good buddy, Jack Wright. He's a good guy. I've always enjoyed talking to him. Last year, he won the funniest person in St. Louis at the Helium Comedy Club contest in 2024. He's a good dude. We do shows together. We travel a lot. This is a fun one. We kind of step outside the normal. I go over a couple best questions with him, but kind of turned into a little bit of trash talking, not towards each other, but some other people. It was fun anyway. We're gonna bleep some specifics out of it. I'm not trying to hurt anybody else, but just having a little fun. But it was a good time. He enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I know you'll enjoy it. So without further ado, Jack Wright, everybody. She told me that when she was in high school, she beat all the games on Legendary. And my son and I have been playing through the games together because you can get all of them for like $10 on Xbox Live. And so he's never played a shooting game like that before. And he dies a lot. And we play on like easy or something. Mm-hmm. And one day, yesterday we were playing and he died like 3 times in a row. And he just turned to me and he goes, "Bree beat this on Legendary?" I was like, I know.
That bitch won.
He was just like, how? How does she do it?
How old is he?
9.
Okay. He's getting there.
The only game like it that he's ever played is Fortnite, but that's like third person.
Yeah.
And it's different. I always liked third person games better.
I don't hate them. I just don't like... I like the feeling of the first person, and I like the fact that it constricts everybody's point of view to that. You know, third person, you can like see around you and behind you, which can be helpful, but can also just be a little bit overstimulating. Sometimes I get overstimulated.
Sometimes there's a lot of stimulation.
Sometimes I play Call of Duty and I bust. And
you want to plug your social media real quick?
Sure.
And any shows that you have coming up? Because I think you got something.
I got some shows. So Instagram, Jack Wright Comedy. TikTok, I'm stand-up Jack Wright. It's pretty much all I use. And then February 27th, we're back with Wines and Punchlines. My friend Chris Oliver and I put on a show at City Winery, St. Louis. And we have a very special headliner, the very hilarious Sam Talent. He is headlining our show, so we are very excited about that. He's very funny, and he's a great author, too.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
Dude, he's so fucking...
So my wife doesn't let, like, our kids watch too much comedy. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when, like, my son's not around, my daughter and I'll be like, watch this. Yeah. And I'll put on a stand-up. And I made her watch Toad's Morale. And I forgot... like, some of it is very not not especially to watch with your dad.
Also, the first 5 minutes is just like trans people, right?
yeah. Chicks with dicks. But we watched it together, and it was awkward because of what he was talking about, but it was so funny. Like, we both just kept looking at each other and like, I don't know, when he... that part where he says it looks like his wife is getting strangled by a fingerless man. Just so funny. But it was cool because you called me about it before it was confirmed and public knowledge. Uh-huh. And you were like, hey, I got some things in the works. I'm not sure if I can tell you or not, but just know I've got some big things that I'm really excited about. And I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. I'm excited. And you were like, okay, yeah, I got to go. Oh, by the way, you're not involved in any way. But yeah, thanks. See you, buddy. And I was just like, Okay, well, all right, have a good one.
See, I do that a lot where, like, I'll get excited about something, so I want to tell somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I tell you, and then I also didn't want you to think, like, okay, Jack's got a spot for me, because I genuinely don't. I would if I could pay you. I don't have it.
No, I get
all
it.
that money's gone, I promise. So.
It's fine.
But, yeah, dude, I got to crush the dreams right away.
I laughed so, it was so funny because it was like this like big high energy phone call, and I was like, awesome, man, Jack's excited. And then you were like, yeah, I got to go. By the way, you're not involved in any of this, but have a women. And I was like, yeah, you too. Okay. And then I just kind of sat there for a minute. I'm like, all right, well, it'll be fun.
At least I was honest. Right?
Yeah.
At least you weren't waiting for a text. Like, you see the poster come out, and you're like, okay, well, fucking, come on, man.
So how long do you want me to do?
No
time at all.
I'm excited, dude. It's we did Flyover Comedy Festival with this show in November, and that went really well. And it felt like we've had great headliners come through before, and we had great shows, but it definitely felt like an upgrade and a little bit more professional. So when we came back to do another one, we were like, let's keep moving in the right direction. So, and now that I've gotten Sam and I've kind of worked out the deal with City Winery in terms of like what I can do financially, it frees us up to book more guys at his level. So it will result in a spot for you and other people around the scene to work with some of the greatest stand-ups working right now, hopefully.
Well, even when things, I was just excited for you, for that. And yes, I would love to do the show. Any show you want to give me, I would love to do. But I was excited for like how excited you were, and then when I saw the poster, I was like, no way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, he's a really cool guy. I met him previously. I did Fountain City Comedy Festival in Kansas City. And he's, like, I think notorious for that, for just, like, dropping into festivals if they're going on at the same time he's in town. And super nice, hilarious. There's a very funny comic. He opens for Joe List and Mark Normand, Dayton Brissett.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And he has a really funny joke about him being named Dayton because his dad's like, I was dating your mom. And then whatever, his brother's named Buttfuck. It's a really great joke. Look up Dayton Brissett on Instagram and Facebook. But Sam followed him. And it's like an outdoor patio show in the middle of the day. It's the brunch show. He followed Dayton and just pretended to be his brother Buttfuck for 10 minutes. And he was like, why are you telling family secrets like that, man? We didn't want that shared. And just murder. And it took a second for the audience to get like what he was doing. But once he did, he just kept building. It's like so cool to see somebody just be funny for funny's sake and take those weird risks.
Yeah.
And get to do that
I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, that is cool. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. That story you told about when you met him or whatever, that's a good story. Like, that's one of my favorite.
Well, the festival, when you do a comedy festival, they have, like, a green room or even just literally a bucket full of beer. And, you're drinking a lot, you're socializing, you're networking. I suck at talking to humans, so I had to get really drunk the first night. I didn't have a show either. So there's a point in the first night where I was like, I could throw up or I could get another Busch Light. And I got another Busch Light, and I survived.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I went up at an open mic. I have no idea what I said, but apparently it went okay. But the next day, I'm at that outdoor show, and I'm so hungover. I have sunglasses on and, like, my hoodie and everything and my hat, and I have a Bloody Mary that I'm literally, like, you can hear the ice because I'm shaking. And Sam is a big he's a big Broncos fan, and I'm a Raiders fan. And I'm wearing a Raiders hat, so he walked up on me. And I'm a huge fan, and he's also 6'5". Like, he's a huge dude. So he walks up on me, and I'm looking up at him, and he's like, Raiders, huh? And I'm like, Broncos? And he was like, yeah. And I punked him. And he's so big, he just went back like Santa Claus, like, and then he was like, I'm Sam, nice to meet you. And I was like, I'm a huge fan, I'm Jack, nice to meet you. So just very cool and very, like, he didn't have to. I was clearly hiding in the corner, and he still engaged me. I think that's a cool quality in a person to do that, like, naturally.
Yeah.
Especially in stand-up, when people come up to you, like, overly nice and you don't know them, you're like, what do you want?
There's something so phony about it.
Yeah.
Man, I can't say it. I was trying to describe this to someone the other day. Like, I got to do a show at Zany's in Nashville.
Yep.
And the first time I was ever there, I was in the green room, and I just I was just keeping to myself because I'm like, I'm just going to hang out and kind of get the lay of the land and figure out like how it is. Like, I don't like people that come in somewhere and try and like take over.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey man, why don't you pump the brakes and kind of figure out how things work quick. And then, but that's also me, is that I overthink every interaction I've ever had.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, oh, they hate me.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like, I would rather just sit here and speak when spoken to than try and take over. Now, like, once I'm comfortable, like at Helium, if we go into the green room at Helium, probably coming in hot. You know what I mean? But that's because I feel comfortable there. But it's like especially in a new place, you're like, hey, I just don't want to be a problem.
Well,
so I'm just going to chill.
It's the same as when you meet a new person. Like, you know, you just don't want to overstep boundaries or anything. That's why it's weird when you're in a green room and somebody comes in, they're very extroverted, but it also doesn't feel like they're listening at all. Like, they ask you something, they're like, haha, so let's follow each other on Instagram. Like, just very quickly trying to get to the networking stuff. And it's like that look behind their eyes of what can you get for me? Especially at a club like Zany's where there's so much reputable talent coming through all the time. Like, I have to imagine people are just hounding people left and right. So I think the move is...
Well, it was cool. That's exactly right. Because what ended up happening is there were people in there that were like trying to hold court, you know, and you could see some of the bigger names in the green room were kind of along the sides, and they were having like little conversations. And I was just standing there, and I ended up talking to Leanne Morgan for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of by myself, and I think she did the same thing Sam did to you.
Yeah.
Where she like came up and said something like, you know, and first of all, she's the sweetest woman alive.
Yeah.
And I worked at the comedy club in Cape Girardeau when she came through there, and it was like one of the last clubs she did before she moved to theaters. And so it was so much fun to just like, I was like, well, I've actually met you before. And she was like, oh, how is that sweet club doing? You know, like that.
It's and then burnt to the ground.
And I was like, well, a lot like the Soviet Union.
It fell apart into different small chunks.
Yeah, they pulled parts of the wall down.
Yeah.
No, they but then like I told she like left for a minute, and I texted my wife and was like, hey, I just bumped into Leanne Morgan, and she loves Leanne Morgan.
Yeah.
And so she sent me a picture of the two of them because like she came to the shows and stuff, and then like took a picture with Leanne. And so then Leanne came back in the green room and was like working her way around, you know, talking to people, and she came back to talk to me, and I was like, I told my wife that you were here, and she sent me this photo, and it's a photo from several years ago or whatever. And she just goes, I can't fit in those jeans anymore. Like that. It was so fun. Like,
yeah.
She's just, and I like, that made me feel like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool. I belong here. I'm not like the weird person, you know?
It's genuinely refreshing to meet genuine people, especially in this business where, you know, like it sucks, but it's few and far between. But
yeah, I would say, I don't know. I mean, maybe when you get higher up or you're doing, you know, bigger and bigger shows, I think it gets less genuine. But so far, I would say 2/3 of everybody I meet is genuine because I can still recognize it pretty quick when someone's not. And I think it's because I'm used to dealing with genuine people. Like, there are a bunch of, you know, there are comics here in St. Louis where they talk to you and you're like, what do you want?
yeah.
You want something. You're only talking to me because you want something. So it's like,
it sucks too because when I go to a different scene, I have the walls up still, and like when I go to Chicago, it's a very supportive scene over there, and everybody's like very nice. Obviously, there's elements of that, but like I don't have to deal with it because I'm coming in from out of town. But it is cool to like go somewhere else, make connections, and have like people you can hang with because like. Now I can come back to Chicago, hang out in a green room. I know 2 or 3 people. We can have our own side conversation, and I don't have to sit awkwardly in the corner anymore. And all that comes from doing shows with people. They see you're funny, you see they're funny, and you just line up, you know? Like, I think that is, like, obviously we treat everyone nice when we first meet them, but as a stand-up, it's like, until I see you on stage, it's really...
yeah.
Like, you know...
Like, you seem like a good dude, but if you go bomb right now...
Yeah. We'll be friends.
We'll be friends,
but
yeah.
You know, we're not, you know. But that's the thing. Like, it's cool to be a comic because your friends are the funny people.
Have you ever hung out with someone like before a show and they seem like a good person and you're like, oh, this is fun, you know, and then they get on stage and they say some like wild like borderline racist, like sexist stuff, and you're like, oh man, oh no, I picked the wrong person.
See, for me, I'm like, that's my best friend.
I knew I liked you.
No, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I'm sure people can say it for me too, but I can smell the bomb on people sometimes when you first meet them.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, oh, this is gonna, especially like if they're hosting or something, you're like, ooh, this is gonna be. Tough. I can't imagine how many people think that about me, but still.
Well, there are times where somebody comes and talks to you after like a bad bomb, and you're kind of like, don't like let's just let you take a lap, okay? Like I don't, no offense, but I don't want that energy on me.
Yeah, well, especially when they're not acknowledging the bomb.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
If you bomb and then you get off stage and you're like, whoo, that was rough, then it's fun. Then it's like, that's all right, man. We all bomb. It's
or
okay.
they're a good friend and you'd be like, yeah, you fucking suck.
Why'd you think
that was a good idea, man?
Yeah, why did you? Man, you just pulled the ripcord so fast. But then there's other people that bomb and they get off stage and they're like, that was great. And you're like, wait, where were you? Like mentally, did you just go internal and you're like, I have to get through this? And I mean, if so, I guess we've all been like, I contractually have to do 10 more minutes or I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
So
I think recording yourself too. I think because like we've all had sets where we feel like we did all right, and then we listen to the set the next day and you're like, I'm a fraud. I was drunk.
I talked about this with Bree like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes I need to check in with funny people and be like, hey man, am I funny? Like, am I still funny? Like, cause you see so many delusional people that are like, man, that was great. I crushed it. And you're like, you have no concept of reality, do you? And then you're like, wait, am I one of those people?
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's like, I thought I heard people laughing, but then again, so did they.
Yeah.
So I have to check in. Speaking of Chicago, I'll be there March 10th doing a show with my buddy John Gasper, and then March 12th I'll be there doing a show with my buddy Tyler Fowler. So
nice. What shows you doing? He's very excited for these shows.
I am. Well, here's the thing. I am extremely excited about these shows. I swear I am. I just... sometimes you're just like, you just get it. You're like, hey, we've got a spot for you this time at this time. Well, on the 12th, I'm not quite sure what the show's called, but it'll be at the Comedy Clubhouse, and that'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah,
that's
and
fun.
Then on the 10th. I'll be doing a show. See, that's the thing. Like
it's probably tight ship. I think that's
it is because that's what he runs. I just couldn't remember if that's. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'll report back. It's a good show.
Yeah,
so it'll be a good time.
I'm so bad at that. Like this part of it, that when someone reaches out or I reach out to someone, like, hey, can I get a spot? Or they're like, yeah, sure, love to have you. How's X amount of time for X amount of dollars? And you're like, cool, great. And then you forget to be like, so what's it called? Or like, is there a theme? Or like, like the first time I did the Smokes and Jokes show, I just got offered to be like, hey, would you want to be part of a show on the 12th? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And then I got there and I was like, oh, or you see your face on a poster and you're like, is that what I said? Was this the?
It's the worst when they pull it just off of Facebook or something, and you're like, "Oh no, that's not the picture." I was eating a hot dog when they took that. Yeah, Smokes and Jokes though is fun because you'll get there and it starts 2 hours later.
Well, yeah.
Is that the case at the Playhouse, or did they start?
No, it was right on time.
Right on time. Okay,
right on time.
I'm doing that tomorrow night.
It's so much.
Jokes.
I might come by just to hang out.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. It's a lot of fun.
No, yeah, and they take care of comedians like very well.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Smokes and Jokes, it is a comedy showcase that's put on by a lady, Just Black. I love you, Black. Then Keywan and Murphy Lee from the St. Lunatics. They are also like producers on the show, and but they also do another show called Incredible, edible in quotation marks, jokes, and that's at the Westport Playhouse. I think they're doing it twice a month.
Looks like it, guys. I think there was one last week.
Oh, they might be trying. Okay, well then they might be doing it every week then.
That'd be great.
Which is awesome because it is a fantastic show. So yeah, shout out to them. Yeah. I love doing it. I love the last one. She had me as the featured comedian on the last one, and I was supposed to end with 10 minutes at the very end or whatever.
Yeah. And
Prince Jig went up in front of me, and I was in the back, and I was like, he should have gone last. Okay, he should have gone last. I was stretching, okay, all right, we gotta, we gotta bring the heat. He is so funny, and I'm very monotone and don't have a ton of act outs, and I was like, okay, all right, come on, we gotta
time to change everything I am.
Yeah, and it went great because it's a great audience and stuff like that. But you feel all right, if I'm going last, and my face was on the poster as the featured comedian, and I'm like, well then, I should bring it, and it's I noticed him starting to get huge pops, and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was doing squats and stuff, but to get the blood going, And I tried to come out at a 10,
Dude, when I did Smokes and Jokes first, and it's just they could smoke inside.
Mm-hmm.
We could smoke inside. So I was in my head, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna smoke, so I'm not too high for my set. But then the show started 2 hours later, and everyone's already been smoking, so the entire room is filled with smoke. And I'm like, I might as well. I'm going to smoke a lot. And so I smoked, and then I'm waiting to go up. STL Slim went up before me, and, he's different than me. He has a face tattoo.
Slightly, yeah.
He has a face tattoo, and he was up there killing before me, and he was like, I'll bust that bitch jaw, just going hard in the paint. And I'm like, I'm going to come up there in a flannel and be like, hey, guys, isn't this silly?
Yeah, dude.
Isn't this so weird?
It wasn't the Incredible Joke Show, but one of the shows I did recently, and I'm so sorry to whoever's joke this is, I can't remember. But the setup was bitches these days got air fryer pussy, but I'm looking for a bitch with a crock pot pussy like that. And he was destroying. Comedian Tone. He was upset. He was pacing back and forth like a tiger in a cage and just destroying. And then I went up with my dad energy, hello, just that whole line.
I love it when he talks about women because it's dude, you're 400 pounds. Come on, man.
He pulls.
That's all right.
He pulls.
I don't know his business, but
Tone is a fan and a friend of the podcast.
I'm a friend of his. I love his Facebook. It's fucking wild.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
He was posted to talk about something, and he was like, "It's okay, y'all figured it out. Elon is making the robots to push communism," and I was like, "What? Any of those? How do they connect?"
It's so funny. He reminds me of. Did you ever watch the Boondocks?
Yeah.
Okay, so he reminds me of Huey from the Boondocks because Huey was the free your mind, brother, like that, and that kind of reminds me of Tone of just I had him on one time and I was like, what's the best conspiracy theory? And he was just he cracked his knuckles and was like, we're about to let's go. Shout out to Tone, man. He's so funny. He makes me laugh every time. He's one of those guys I love to see because when they see you, it's just it's like you've been best friends for ever, because it's just oh, what's up, man, like that, and you're like, oh, damn, you're legit excited to see you. I'm also excited to see you,
Dude, the Wednesday before I did the competition, I did Wing It, at the end of the night after my other sets. And my other sets, I was running the jokes that I wasn't sure about for the competition, but I was trying to decide if I was going to do, and it was a tough night. Open mic crowd, it was just hard to get a read. And then I went to Wing It, and I was like, I should just have fun. And I went up and it was free, and I was talking to two women in the crowd, and I was talking to them. I was like, "Are you single?" And she was like, "No, actually, I'm with her." And I was like, "Oh, okay, lesbian." As if it was going to be a different category,
different setup. Yeah.
And it's just so fun to just be able to cut loose and have an intimate show and talk to people. It's a good setup they have. Shout out Wing It Wednesday.
Shout out Wing It Wednesday. I miss it. I normally. because of Helium, like depending on where I am on the list, I have to go straight from Helium to Smash'ems. But I miss going to Wing It Wednesday. Shout out Too Much Sauce.
Too much sauce.
Too Much Sauce.
Yes.
Love those wings. God. And so I miss. That is one thing that I hated about starting a Wednesday night mic was just like. But when the guy, the head chef at Smash'ems, shout out Kevin, he was like, yeah, Wednesday just works best for us. And we were like, okay. Yeah. So I at least tried to make it staggered to where if people want to go to Wing It Wednesday, they can still come back and do Smash'ems as well.
Dude, I had my late night open mic canceled last night.
Forever? Really?
Yeah. But, I mean, that was bound to happen sometimes.
I was curious about that because I talked to Joe, and he said it was going to twice a month, so like every other week, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, but...
Yeah. I don't know. It's just Joe's about to have a baby. Shout out Joe Tillman. Congrats.
Congrats, buddy. Yeah.
Beautiful day. He's going to be a great dad.
Because he definitely will be listening to this.
Yeah. But, it's like that wasn't a room where they didn't want us. Like it's like there's etiquette when it comes to running an open mic and like between the business and the open mic both, and it was not good on either side because a late night open mic, especially after there's two other spots, comics are just coming to get drunk and hang out and be loose, and nobody wants that at their bar on a late Tuesday night,
You're trying to double down. You're either trying to right the ship after two bad bombs, or you're trying to double down and like ride the high of having a great set, and it almost never works that way.
Yeah.
You either bomb even harder or then bomb so hard it resets the high that you had from the other mic.
Dude, fucking, yeah, it's just, and I would always get there late from Funny Bone, and so sometimes I would walk in and they're like, yo, we're doing a pitcher race, and everybody's holding a pitcher of beer. And I'm like, fuck, this is going to be bad. And sure enough, a woman cries and leaves, and I'm like, this is not the atmosphere I wanted to build.
Did we already say the name of the bar?
No, let's not.
Okay, I'm good. No, that's what I was going to say. Let's not.
No.
Let's not. It's just the last time I was there, a guy threatened to stab me.
Yeah.
And the owner of the bar was like, well, if you don't calm down, sir, you're not going to be allowed to come back. And I was just like, yeah, man, I think he's past that. Yeah.
It's a St. Louis dive.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love it's a fun vibe when you're not getting stabbed. But that's the kind of bars I like hanging out at. But
yeah.
I liked it because there was not a mirror in the bathroom. And there's always a point in drinking, especially drinking hard, where you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, this is a different guy.
Yeah.
That's not
Who's
me.
That?
I gotta go home. I gotta see my family again.
I gotta go home so that way maybe I come back.
God, I love open mics, dude.
I do. Yeah, I do. But
don't get me wrong, I hate them. I hate them too, but you got.
There are times where I hate like getting up to go to an open mic. Sometimes you're like it takes everything in you to get yourself there, and then usually once I'm there, I enjoy it. Even if it's bad, then later you talk about how bad it is and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
But man, there are times where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I look at some like professional comedians who don't do open mics anymore. Like they just do showcases and then the weekends clubs. And I'm like, man, that must be pretty nice. Yeah, that must be.
Well, it's just we're lucky in a way because we have a smaller scene and less comics.
Yeah.
So like we might have a long list here and there, but for the most part, like everybody gets to go up at somewhat of a reasonable time. When I go to a bigger scene, it's like 40, 50 comics on an open mic list. You're waiting until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and nobody's in the room when you go up. And then you go and do shows or showcases. And for the most part, it's like the same 10, 15 people. So it's like you really just have to grind no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Like, especially like I've heard LA, it's like most of the mics there, especially like the Improv, it's all like industry people or just people waiting to go up. So nobody's going to laugh because they're all like there on business.
Right.
Which is a weird vibe for comedy, but I don't know. I think this is a great place to start.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a great place to get funny quickly because you can get more stage time. I think you can get more stage time here in a short period of time than you can anywhere else. I mean, well, no, probably New York. But a
Open
lot
mic
of those
stage
places, yes, but a lot of those places are paid mics where it's like if you want 4 minutes,
Yeah.
then you have to pay.
Or you have to bring
Or
people with you.
or you have to bring people and stuff like that. And here is kind of like, no, we've got plenty of stage time to give out.
Yeah,
Everybody,
we got an open mic pretty much every night of the week. We got 3 clubs. Once you get in, you can start working them pretty regularly. And like getting up in front of club crowds is the big thing because
yeah,
a lot of people just have to wade through open mics for 5 years and bar shows and stuff like that, which is great. You got to do it, but at the same time, getting in front of a big club room, that's the best thing for you. Like, and what I'm thankful for too is being in the Midwest, especially in St. Louis. It's a lot of blue collar or like older kind of drunk crowds that are just like, I could give a fuck about what your opinions are and make me laugh.
Yes,
And that's good.
Yes.
That's to our benefit. Because when I go to different cities and there's crowds that are like, no, we like you. Just tell us your opinion. Like, I almost feel like I need to pull back a little bit because I'm so used to just hammering them. But it does make me realize that's why I see comics who I think are funny that they'll come from a bigger scene. They come out to the Midwest and they struggle, especially on like a Thursday show that's like not as sold out. Like they might have great material, but it's not as.
Yeah, I was just about to say, have you ever worked with someone who, you're doing a show on a Thursday night and there's 20 people in the crowd and they're kind of like, there's only 20. Oh man, okay. And you can tell like they're shaken by it. Whereas I feel like a lot of us are like, hot damn, there's 20 people here. We're about to have some fun, man.
It's a good Thursday.
Hell yeah, man.
The club's getting a new ice machine.
Yeah, you're excited. Yeah. You're like, I've done 6 shows this week to 3 people.
Yeah.
So, man, 20? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Especially like all those big scenes, they have those bar shows and stuff where it's like, it's anywhere from like there's a set area for the comedy where it might be a light crowd, but at least you're not getting like fucked with, or you're literally fighting for your life to get anyone's attention. So it's like, thank God we're at least in a club where they came to see a comedy show. That's well, you worked with this comic. We watched a comic have a complete fucking meltdown in the garage and literally asked to pay everyone's tab so they could go home and not do the show.
Hey, can we raise the lights real quick? Can we raise the lights? If I pay all of your tabs, can we just stop right now? I'll pay for everyone's drinks. Let's just stop right now and go home. And then you and I and Enzo were in the back and like looking at each other and just like, whoo.
Yeah. Like it's crazy too because the crowd was like, no, we bought tickets. Like we're here to see you. Like,
that comic got on stage and was like, you could tell just like angry, like, and one of the first things they said is they pointed at someone in the audience. They go, what's your fucking problem? And she just goes, I'm trying to guess your vibe, man. Like she could tell she was like, you like angry drunk stepdad right now,
fucking reason. That doesn't give away who it is, but it's still like.
I mean, it narrows it down.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like many people are on his side anymore, and so.
I'm not trying to do anything that makes it harder for anyone to sell tickets. You know what I mean?
No.
And I think this person's pretty solid in that aspect. So we're not going to. We're not.
I'm burning the bridge. You're not. You're fine.
That's. I mean,
move past it. Anyways, Sam Talent. I'm pretty excited.
So what's the best Gatorade flavor? No, you said that you're starting up a podcast.
Yeah.
Why don't we? You want to kind of take over and go through like a practice session for it, or?
I mean,
or just promote it even.
Yeah, we can just promote it. I don't know if we can really even practice session it. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to do a podcast. That's the main thing. But I feel like the scape of stand-up and show business now is we all have to have a social media presence. And I think people like podcasts too because it connects to the artist's personality and like what they are on like a day-to-day basis, which is great. But it's not something I want to.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to focus on when I started on. I just want to be a comic, So
I really did not want to start a podcast, but I knew I needed something that was going to let people kind of get to know me as a person, and I couldn't just keep putting out stand-up clips because you just burn material. And then people are going to come see you and be like, well, I've heard all this before.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the whole reason I started a podcast, because I just wanted something where people could, get to know you and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but since I'm doing it begrudgingly and I'm a fucking cynical guy, I think I'm calling it the Why Me podcast. And I'm just going to rant on stuff that I hate and situations that I've been in that piss me off and get it out in a healthy way because I can't afford therapy and, do that. I think people, there's enough positivity in the world. People always gripe like nobody's positive anymore. They shouldn't be. That's done. We're done with that.
We're done with positivity.
Somebody's got to be a grouch, and I'm a man of the people. I'm here to represent and be pissed off for everyone, all right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's definitely a fresh take on things.
Yeah,
I would tune in for, I'd tune in every week to hear you be like, yeah, and why does the smoke detector beep for 6 months before it dies,
Yeah, most people just bashing women, just, all the fun stuff, all the things the bros, the dogs, the fellas want to hear. And I don't know. It'll be fun. I'm excited. I have a guest on it here and there. I might do some solo pods, but I think it'll be good for stand-up. Hopefully some bits come out of it and, just get used to talking on a mic and being on camera. And
you'd be surprised how many times somebody's talking and like a little spark hits and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that might be something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
It is definitely somebody was like, oh, so your podcast is like a labor of love. And I was like, not love. Not love. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
I enjoy sitting and talking to you. I enjoy laughing and hanging out with my friends and getting quote unquote mic time. But dealing every week, every day waking up to new messages on social media being like, you're fat, you're gay, you're retarded. You're like, oh, awesome.
Yeah,
thank you.
Being judged, isn't it so fun?
Oh yeah.
That's our whole job, man.
Yeah, or heaven forbid you give an opinion that the internet doesn't agree with. Like the first time I ever said I didn't like Oreos, and someone was like, "I'll burn your house down." Like,
all right, dude, just tell me who you voted for.
Chill. Yeah. Let's skip through some of these.
Do you mind if we wrap in 5?
Oh, that's cool.
Got me a funny bone.
Oh yeah. What time you got to be out there? 7:30.
Yeah, by 7:30 at the latest. So
okay, cool.
Yes, I'm broke until I get paid for the show.
Then forget going through some questions.
I think we have time for a couple, if you want.
We have time for a couple. Okay, best TV mom. How about this?
Tony Soprano's mom. I love that. I love that so much.
So I've never seen The Sopranos.
Yes.
I've never seen an episode of The Sopranos. But I have heard she's the one everyone hates, right?
Everyone hates her. And
okay.
That's a good actress, I think. If you can play a character that's so hateable that you hate the person playing them, you did a good job.
So Jared Leto's a good actor?
Never mind. That take eats shit. You're right.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's way better at acting than I could ever be. But man, I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy. And when, like, I was conflicted because I'm a huge Batman fan. So when he got cast as the Joker, I'm like, I hate him, but I'm supposed to hate him.
I honestly, I didn't have much frame of reference for him before Batman. I guess I never listened to 30 Seconds to Mars. I had a dad, and so I never got into him that way. And I was like, when he got cast, I was like, okay, jawline, facial structure. I feel like he could pull this off. And then they came out with the face tattoos and the grill, and I was like, whoa, this is a red flag. And then they're like, yeah, he's sending us used condoms and dead rats on set. And I was like, okay, Heath Ledger went nuts, but he didn't hurt or bother anybody.
It's just oh man, he's just one of those guys where it's just like, I don't know, I could just there's something about him, and I try to like everybody I meet. I try to find the good in everyone. But you
haven't met him, so fuck him.
Well, yeah, but I just have this feeling that if I ever met him in person, I'd be like, you know, Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, all of his Joker stuff, he bitched and moaned and complained that it wasn't in the final cut of Suicide Squad. I think the microphone might pick up my stomach noises right now, by the way.
I heard a brief something, but I was like...
Dude, it's bad.
Well, the coffee's not helping, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I have a recording from Helium where I'm right about to go on stage. You can hear my stomach go... and everyone in the green room heard it, and I was like, dude, I'm scared.
That's better than most of the recordings I have from Funny Bone where it's Patty in the background going, you want to make it a double? Or, damn it, Enzo, who sat this room? Shout out, Patty. I love you. I'm not talking shit. I love you.
Absolute legend.
Yeah.
But Jared Leto sucks. Suicide Squad, he bitched because his Joker, like, they advertised the fuck out of him being in the movie, and then they didn't put a lot of his scenes in the movie. And the director and the producers came out like, yeah, you sucked. Like, you weren't good as the Joker. That's why we took it out of the movie. We would love to put Joker scenes in this movie, but we can't.
We wanted to put good Joker scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
That's like going to an open mic and saying that you're going to the customers and then being like, well, why am I not allowed back?
He is the Jared Leto of our scene, dude. This sucks. Does he watch?
I don't.
I fucking hope so. Fuck you. You know who you are. Pussy.
I'm not. All right.
Come at me, dog.
So this is the first Patreon episode. After we've already talked, man, we have talked shit on everything. The bar your former mic was at, a couple comedians.
Hey, man, I'm trying to promote this podcast, all
Yeah.
right?
That's true. You did say you're bringing the negativity and stuff.
It's going to be a Cat Williams episode every episode. We're going to have a good time. Every headliner I work with, I call him out like, he didn't even smoke weed with me.
Put your crowd work on the line, boy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I don't think any of this is usable.
I think it's great. I think put it out.
I mean, oh yeah, I would definitely put it out. Yeah, I'm not doing enough episodes to not bank a couple. You know. Oh man, that was. All right, so last thing I ask everybody when they come on. What's the best way to fix this podcast? Any suggestions you got?
Start name dropping. Call them out, man. Tell them who sucks, dude. No, I mean, no suggestions. I like the desks.
Yeah, well, the desks are new.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I miss the furniture.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, but it makes you look so much thinner. And it's like, yeah, I get that. Yeah. But also, I'm a big guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it's like, hey, you look chubby, it's like, well, it's because I'm a little chubby.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
You know who else is chubby? Lizzo. She's doing. Yeah. Well, she's not doing great anymore, but she's she's got more money than me, dude.
That's so funny that she was like the voice of like a whole movement or whatever.
Yeah, and then she's like, I made.
And then she used that voice to like do bad things, and people were like, whoa. And it's like, yeah, maybe. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have given her a chance.
You should have put that flute in there instead of a banana dog. No, I think you're doing great. I think this is good. I like this setup, you know, and the questions are good. That keeps the podcast moving, especially when you get people that you don't know how to talk to, and you know, not how to talk to, but you know, sometimes you talk to a person and you're just like, well, this ain't gonna.
Yeah, sometimes
it's gonna work out.
There's usually within the first like 5 minutes of doing a podcast, you're like, oh boy, all right, this is gonna be an hour. Okay.
And this person bugged me to come on.
That's
great. Name drop.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. We're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just doing the best we can, you know. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And then the whole internet comes down on you. I mean, not
the whole internet. Joe Tillman, maybe, but
sometimes. No, Joe Tillman. Shout out Joe Tillman. He is like, man, he is. Sometimes I feel like he's the coach in my corner, like of a boxing match.
Yeah. Dude.
Where like every 60 seconds or 3 minutes, I come back and I'm like, he punched me in my nose, and Joe's like, "You're doing a great job, buddy. Hey, man, keep Keep them up. You know, you got this. You bob and move. Keep them coming. Really enjoy this. And you're like, okay, well, if you believe in me, all right, I'll keep doing it. And then you go out there and you just wham, just get rocked in the face by a million comments being like, you're stupid, you're fat, you're retarded. You're like, okay, sorry for trying.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, that's what I got to look forward to.
Yeah, welcome.
all them comments, dude, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's all you can do. So,
yeah, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming. Let me know if you want to come back. You're welcome anytime. Yeah. And I'll get some more questions going. We kind of just
this is natural.
We abandoned it. Yeah. Every now and then you got an episode where you're like, hey, let's just vent a little.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for watching. See you next week.